lead time pooling, delayed differentiation. This is the second type of lead time pooling that we will consider in this topic, and it is called delayed differentiation. It is trying to address the weakness of the universal design, right? A universal design increases profit but does not allow for product differentiation or market segmentation. Delayed differentiation, right, is an alternative to product pooling or universal design. Basically, we will stock a generic base product, right, which means basically we'll have one product, but when the demand occurs, we will quickly differentiate this base product into the variants that this product can become. And so we quickly differentiate only when demand occurs. One example of delayed differentiation is in retail paint. The old way of delivering paints was that the paints would be produced in a factory and the ready colors in large cans would be delivered to retail stores where customers could buy them. Now, this was the problem because if you wanted to have a large choice of colors, there was a lot of products, right? So the number of different variants was very large, and each of them could, or some of them at least, could move very slowly. Colors other than white could be selling very slowly. So this, in order to address this, what the currently companies do is they actually produce some base paints. There's usually more than one base, but just a few, could be 3, 4 base colors. They're actually they're variants of grayish or white, and then they produce very small quantities of pigments. And then at retail stores, the mixing occurs. So there are mixing machines in retail stores where you can, a customer can choose from a very large palette of colors, and then the machine can add very accurately the pigments in certain proportions and obtain exactly the color the customer needs. So that, of course, reduces the amount of the bulky products. Only the base paints have to be delivered here in large quantities, right? And just a few products instead of in the original system, there had to be a large number of products. So actually, this is what allows customers much larger choice, and of course, right, brings benefits because again we have fewer products satisfying the very large demand compared to a much larger number of products satisfying this demand. So in paint sales, this is actually becoming a standard. Actually, it leads to a kind of curse of choice because the customers now are given a catalog of a number of colors that makes it difficult for them to choose the actual color because there are so many different shades of red or pink or other colors that it is actually becoming difficult for the customers to choose. But from the perspective of supply, this is clearly providing a lot of variety without very high cost. So that's one example of delayed differentiation. Another example of delayed differentiation is process resequencing at Benetton. So if they produce, for example, T-shirts, right? The standard way was first you color the material and then you make the T-shirts, and those T-shirts are available to customers. What is happening currently is that instead of these two steps are reversed, right? So there is a resequencing. First, the T-shirts are produced in one color, let's say in white, and when we know the demand a little bit better, which color is selling better, we actually can apply coloring or dyeing, right? And then obtain the T-shirts of the color that are required. With this resequencing, again, right, we have the differentiation is done later in the process, right? The differentiation had to be done here at the coloring and then the process of making the knitting, right, the sweaters or the T-shirts or other products. Both of those, right, at both of those steps, the products were differentiated originally. Now the garments in white color are not yet differentiated among the colors. So because of that, we keep demand right for a longer time together. So you see again, lead time pooling is because those lead times that are already right, those flows that are already for differentiated products are here kept as one aggregated demand, and therefore this brings benefits. Other examples of delayed differentiations are soap manufacturer. If there is a manufacturer who sells to different companies that in turn apply their own labels, well, this soap manufacturer can hold inventory without labels and just add the label when when they get an order from a particular company, right? They can then apply their label, and this company can sell it as their own soap, even though it was actually produced by a different manufacturer. Similar thing happens, for example, with Black& Decker drills. They sell the same drill to different retailers, right? And those retailers put their own label on them, right? And so if you go to, I don't know, Tesco, the Tesco wants to have their own drill, but in fact it's made by Black& Decker. So when Black& Decker stores those drills, they store them without packaging or without labels, and they just add those when they get an order from Tesco or from another retailer. Similar thing happened and still happens for mobile phones, right? When customers demand, for example, different color of the phones, the often what is done is, right, instead of producing phones with different body colors, we actually can add color plates or now some kind of sleeves or cases for phones, and that these can have different colors, and so customers can even themselves customize the phone. So you have delayed differentiation in an extreme case where the customer himself or herself can customize their product to their need. So we can ask ourselves, when does delayed differentiation make sense? Well, it is useful when, first of all, customers demand variety, right? And of course, when there is less uncertainty about the total demand than the demand for individual versions, right? This is when it helps supply chain to keep those products as one product, right? Those differentiated products. But the necessary conditions are, of course, on the production side. So the product it must be possible to add variety late in the production process, right? It must be cheap and quick, right? It's possible to add it cheaply and quickly, this variety. This differentiation must be easy to add. And also components that are necessary, if any, right, must be relatively inexpensive relative to the components for the base product. So you see, this was actually the case in many examples that we considered, right? For example, when we talked about paint, the pigments are much right smaller, much less bulky, so they're much cheaper to deliver, and then mixing, right, can be done late in production process, although it actually requires, for the case of paint, that retailers have some kind of production facility, right? When we talked about adding labels to generic products, this can be done late, this can be done quickly and cheaply, and and the components are inexpensive, just a piece of paper and some glue, right, that is added to the product, so much cheaper than actually making the product.